Welcome to Warminster Connect. Today I'm joined by Mark Werner. Mark is running for Centennial School Board in Region 3. He's a Warminster resident with a young family. Mark is a newcomer to the scene. Mark, I would say you're not a politician in any way.
I would hope that's the last way anybody would ever describe me.
So Mark, before we get into why school board and why you're doing this, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got to Warminster, whatever you're comfortable sharing about your family.
Absolutely. I'm 37 years old. I'm from South Philadelphia originally. I met my wife in 2014, and I was about a little over a year sober at the time, and fell in love. It was next to my sobriety, the greatest thing that ever happened to me was meeting that woman. We got married in 2017, and we were both commuting from South Philly up to Willow Grove for work. And that ride was miserable. 95 every day in traffic, to and from. We didn't even have kids yet, and just unbearable schedule at that point. So we were carpooling together, and we decided when we got married we'd move out here. So 2017 we got married in February. 2017 in August we bought our home here in Warminster. Immediately fell in love with the community. Our neighbors have been amazing. We have, I venture to say, one of the best streets in the entire town, and I love it out here. I'm happy that I'm not raising my kids in the city, but I'm even more happy that I am raising them in Warminster. So to be a part of this community has just been a huge part of my life, which is why I chose to give back to the community, even with a full plate, to figure out how I can be a greater part of something that's going on out here. And so my wife got pregnant in September. We moved in August. It was a good move-in month. So we were approaching June, and she was 9 months pregnant. It was a high-risk pregnancy, and the company I was working for got bought out a couple months prior, and like over the few months they chopped the top off. I was the last of the original crew to go, and when they did that, it was a month before Renata was giving birth to our son, Nate. And I called her the first call I made as soon as I got let go. And I was just like, listen, if you're shopping, put it down. No clue where the next check's coming from, but I'm going to figure it out. And that's what I did. I made some calls immediately after her. I called a friend of mine who said, I don't know what I'm hiring for, but I'm going to give you a job. And that was because everything I do in recovery is about giving back to people and trying to figure out how I can be an asset to others. They jump at the opportunity to be an asset to me at that point. And I got blessed with a job right away. I started to do Uber and Lyft at night because it was a pay cut. So my son's born. Renata's home with a newborn baby. I'm doing Uber and Lyft. The job had me traveling, and things just didn't work out. So I moved on to another company. And when I made that move, it was the start of me realizing, like, my goal is to have my own company and to be able to make sure that I watched the owners of the company I worked for be able to be a part of their kids' lives. So my goal is if I can get there, if I can do these things, and like, I'll never miss a soccer practice, I'll never miss a game, I'll never miss a school event. So for me, it was like, this is what the goal is. And that was the very start of me figuring out how I was going to get out onto my own and do my own thing. Fast forward a little bit, 12/11/22, my daughter's born. 9 days out of the hospital. No, 9 days born, a couple days out of the hospital, we get a call that she's born with no thyroid. Well, at the time they said it was either an underactive thyroid or no thyroid. We've since found out it's no thyroid at all. She'll have this condition for life. Scary as can be for me. I broke down, cried in the parking lot picking up the medication for the first time. It was it was a shock to me, because now I with Nate, we weren't faced with any sort of trials and tribulations. With this one, it was a little bit different, and it was scary. That was into 2022. Started to work for a company that made some promises to me that didn't come to fruition, of ownership. As of February of this year, I cut ties with that company to open my own facilities. We opened facility number 1, which is a drug and alcohol outpatient facility in Barrington, New Jersey. And we are 2 months out from opening our Port Richmond facility in Port Richmond, Philadelphia. So that's kind of where the journey's taken me. But about a year ago from around this time, there was an incident at Willowdale, the school that my son goes to, and they cut recess out. They made it a structured recess situation, and all the parents were up in arms. I didn't know whether to have a major concern over it or not personally. My view on it was let's hear them out and see what the reasoning is behind it. So I went to the town hall meeting. When I go to the town hall meeting, Mary Alice, who I'm running with, was there, and it was my first time meeting her. And it was instantly I realized that she's a mama bear. In the South
Mhm.
Philly, we you have certain parents who are gonna, if you see them outside, you know your kids are safe. Mary Alice was one of them people, and I instantly just felt that connection to her. So when the superintendent tried to take the microphone away from a volunteer in our community, struck a chord in me, and I just couldn't take it. So I stood up and spoke up against it. And next thing I know, Mary was asking me to run with her, and the rest has been kind of history. Where I started to get more involved. I don't think that the I don't buy into every fire is a fire. I think there's a lot of things that are controversial in our community that are kind of blown up more than what they need to be. There are certain issues that we can look at and just come together as a community and figure out how we find a middle ground on it. Whereas I feel like a lot of people just like to make a dramatic response to things to make they politicize everything. So for me, it's less about politics and more about our kids. What's in the best interest of our kids, and are your kids' needs being met? I realized that I haven't had next to any issues with my son being in this school system. I love the school system. Every teacher he's had, I fell in love with. One of the teachers in there is his tutor outside of school. So we've not just met his teachers, but we've met other teachers inside of the school. And I can't thank the individuals who work for this school system enough for what they do on a daily basis. And I feel like all that gets brought up is how the wrong that they do and not the good that they do. So for me, running, it's less of the controversy and more of how we come together and just do right by our children, man.
Yeah, I agree with you completely about the school district. I grew up in central Pennsylvania, up near like School County. And I came here and we raised our family here. And all I'd hear is how Centennial is not Central Bucks or Council Rock. And we may not have the resources of those communities, but our experience with Centennial School District has been wonderful. And I can't thank the teachers enough. They've done a terrific job. I have a child with special needs. The special education unit has done a terrific job for them. So I share your sentiment there. Before I ask a few questions, if you don't mind me asking, how's your daughter doing today?
Oh, she's incredible, man. So we had a little bit of I went paranoid with the medicine thing. I talked to her endocrinologist immediately and was like, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but we just went as a nation where we couldn't get toilet paper. This is a life-saving medication. This is something that she needs. It's the captain of the ship, the thyroid. So the medication is something I'm not willing to ever go without, and she needs this. So we always stockpile anytime there was a dosage change. We're not getting rid of. I don't believe in the effective date or expiration date on medications. At the end of the day, if she needs it, it's something's better than nothing. I'll take the expired stuff. She went through a point where the company she was put on this liquid one. It's levothyroxine, the liquid version of the thyroid medication, and they got bought out. And my fear came through reality where there was a shortage and there's a supply chain issue. This was back in March, and I went through LinkedIn to find the CEO of the new company that bought it and was just like, buddy, I need answers. My daughter needs this medication. She's not willing to take the other stuff. I tried everything. They gave us alternatives to take, and she just like spits it out. So the fear was is like our levels were going to drop, and they started to when we got the blood work done and everything. But luckily, the between the CEO, the endocrinologist, CVS on York Road over here, the one inside of the Target, the pharmacists are incredible. They make sure that if there is ever anything that comes in, they're putting it aside for Abby because she's the only girl in here, the only person who takes that medication at the in that pharmacy. So we got blessed. Quickly figured out the supply chain issue. Got the new medication in. We now have the under the new brand of their medication. We hopefully knock on wood that issue doesn't come back up. But if it does, we don't stop at anything to figure out a solution. I made sure that I learned things through marketing it through in the treatment industry of prospecting people. So that's where I went on LinkedIn. Was like, everybody's reachable some way or another. And I messaged from the top down, and luckily it was the CEO that answered and figured it out with me.
Wow.
But she's doing wonderful. She's back to taking the medication every day. She looks forward to her med. She wakes up in the morning, the first thing she says is, "Can I get my medicine?" At 2 years old, I've never seen any other child do that. So God is good, and we're taking care of the problem.
That's wonderful. Something
Absolutely.
that struck me the first time I met you, and that it's continued, is that for somebody who's going into the public eye, over the next 2 months, people are going to hear a lot about the school board races as we approach election day. But you are very open about your road to recovery, your sobriety, and your work. Can you just talk a little bit about not even so much your road, but how being somebody who is traveling that path. I must imagine that your work is, while very difficult, very rewarding.
It's rewarding as can be. It's a lot of it's difficult because not everybody wants help. A lot of the people we treat are individuals who haven't really been to the point where they're ready yet. Some of their parents are forcing them. Some of them have outside influences to try and get them help. Do they need it? Absolutely. I mean, I think everybody needs a some sort of support program in one form or another. But it's tough to get people to want this and buy into it and do everything they need to do to get sober and stay sober. It's not an easy task. It's still go to meetings. I have a home group. I have sponsees. I have a sponsor. I work steps. I have sponsees who work steps. I don't struggle with my recovery. I haven't struggled with my recovery in nearly a decade, if not over a decade at this point. It's been 12 years, and life has been absolutely beautiful for me, and God removed that obsession and hasn't brought it back. And I hope that I never have that obsession ever again. But for me, helping others is a reminder on a daily basis. I get to see where people are at and where I was at one point. I sat in the same type of seats. As a matter of fact, I had my therapist from Florida, when I went down there to get sober, one of the cool things is when my grandma, so last year my grandmother was killed at Jefferson Hospital. It was a big situation, and she was taken way too soon on us. And I took that pretty hard mentally. Didn't think about a drink or a drug, but the anger, the frustration, it was a difficult time in my life, and I went back to the basics. I honed in on meetings. I doubled down on what I was doing for my recovery. I spoke to my therapist, who I haven't spoken to in nearly 10 years. The same things that worked for me in 2013 work for me in 2025. And I was able to, a year later, fly my former therapist up here, take him to my work. He spoke to my clients. So the groups that he ran for me while I was in treatment, he was able to run for me with my clients while I sat in there with him. And then he went to my home group with me, and he shared to my home group his story. He's a person in long-term recovery as well. And it was like a full circle moment where I got to see the gifts of sobriety just really shine through in my life, man. And for him, I know he mentioned to me, was one of the coolest parts was the fact that not everybody does want this, like I said. So the amount of success stories are few and far between, unfortunately, in this field. So to have somebody reach out to you that you treated in 2013, who's still doing well, who has a family, who got to fly you up here to introduce you to their family. He stayed with me at my house. We ate meals together. Like it was a cool experience to be able to give back to him and him to give back to me. And I wouldn't have had that opportunity if it wasn't for taking the steps that I took back in 2013 to get myself together. And so I guess the answer would be, is it rewarding? Yes. Is there a lot of success stories? My goal is every day to be the best version of myself, so that others would want to try to follow in that path. I never want to not be an example for these guys. I never want to give somebody a reason to say, well, he did it, or he does this, or he doesn't do that. No, I do all these things. I'm not telling you to do anything that I still don't do today.
It's terrific. You mentioned that you hung up your own shingle. So what has that process been like, going from being an employee to now opening one center and actively trying to get another off the ground?
Busy.
Yeah.
I don't think I've slept more than 4 or 5 hours a night. And my daughter's got her new big girl room, so I'm sleeping in a princess bed most nights when she can't sleep alone. But it's rewarding because I got to realize that all the stress that most of these owners put on us in this field was unnecessary. My goal is not to fly private jets places or wear Rolexes or be the richest person in the room. My goal is, again, to be at my kids' soccer games and stuff like that. So to make sure my employees are happy, to make sure that the staff has always got what they need. I don't want to ever hear that they have a struggle at home that we can't help with. I don't ever want to see a financial burden on my employees that we as a company can't figure out and help them with. I've taken every lesson from being an employee and brought it into being an owner now at this point. And to me, I'm just another bozo on the bus. My name's on ownership, my name's on the license, but outside of that, I'm in the trenches with these guys. I want to figure out how we can all get from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, get home to our families, treat our clients the way they need to be treated, help the individuals that come to us for the help, and then get home to be with our loved ones who ultimately normally in this field don't get the opportunity to be with us. I get less sleep today, but I'm more of a presence in my family's life. I was being told where to be, when to be, and how to be for the first 12 years of this, and now I'm nobody's telling me what to do, but at the same time, I don't have to tell others what to do because they just follow leadership and we just do it all together.
You mentioned leadership. How would you define your leadership style?
We'll do it together. Nobody's alone. It's not a dictatorship. We're not nobody's better than anybody. We all put our pants on the same way. Again, working in this field, I've been surrounded by doctors and people with boatloads of money my entire career who walk into a room and think that those things make them better than. But my mom worked for a doctor back in the day who, Dr. Rosenbaum, God bless him. He instilled something in, he told her something that she passed on to me that I carry through life, which is we all put our pants on the same way. Nobody's better than anybody. We all end up at the same place at the end of this whole thing, hopefully. So I feel like leadership is how we treat people. And I'm not going to treat an employee in a room by myself, like if it's just me and one individual or me and 20 individuals, any differently from each other. We're all in this together. We all have a common goal. If you have a problem, I have a problem. Let's figure it out. Again, whether that be personal, whether it be work wise, whatever it is, let's come together to make all of our lives a little bit easier.
I think that's been running through my mind as you've been talking. I would say that you're an advocate. You're an advocate not just for people in recovery or your daughter. How would you apply that on the school board? If the voters elect you in November, how would you take what you've learned over these last 10, 15 years? How would you apply it?
I feel like the same way I applied in business, the same way I applied in my home. I don't think anything changes. It's if you have a problem, let's figure it out together. Let's not yell at each other. I don't yell at anybody. I've never yelled at anybody, but I also will not be yelled at. We can talk things out. We're all adults. Nobody's anybody's controller or leader. Let's calmly figure this out together. When we do that as a community and we come together as a community and stop who voted for who or who has this or who has that, when we come together and realize like we have children that we're concerned with and this is our problem, we can figure out a solution together. I don't think anything gets done in chaos. So for me, I would probably say I would bring it in there in that exact way. It's how you say things. If somebody's approaching you and they're fired up and you get fired up back with them, that fire doesn't go out. But if you calmly just say, let's talk about this. Come with me. Let's figure it out. And when you do things that way, you get better results. So my goal would be is to bring that calmness, to bring the level-headedness. I think that from what I've watched in this school board is there's a lot of grown children on the board. The egos get to each other. And I'm not saying they're children all the time, but when
No, no.
they get into these arguments, they become childlike. And they throw little jabs at each other and you'll hear them talking under their breath. We don't have to do that to each other. We can just calmly handle a situation. Like we're never always going to agree on anything. I've never agreed with anyone 100% of the time ever. I don't think anybody's ever 100% of the time agreed with me either. But at the end of the day, we can find that middle ground. We can find a way to do right by the children, which is ultimately what we're there for. Not ego, not pride, not who's right, who's wrong, or Democrat, Republican. It's how do we do right by the child? What is the issue? Is there even an issue? And let's figure that out. But the jabs at each other and the talking down to each other when we're all adults here, like we need to behave like that. We need to lead by example. And if we're acting that way, how we expect our kids to go into school and act any differently? I can't be having myself seen on video at a school board meeting acting like a bully, and then telling my son to not go to school and be a bully to help other people,
Mhm.
which is what I do every day. My day starts with, Nate, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have joy today. I hope you have fun today at school. I hope you learn some really cool stuff. But most importantly, help somebody. Figure out how you can help somebody, and don't be mean to anybody. Everybody has a different story. Everybody goes home to something different. And we don't know what these people are going home to, and we don't know what these kids are going home to. So if I'm acting like a bully on the board, I can't go and tell my son that the next morning with a clean conscience. Ultimately, my goal would be is to bring that calmness and the let's figure this out. I'll be the last one to say I never blow up. If you poke the bear enough, yeah, there's going to be somebody who gets angry. I'm going to quickly apologize to you. I'm going to quickly turn around. There's 10, 11, and 12 in AA is a huge part of my life. Before I go to bed, I look back on my day. I figure out where I went wrong, what I could have done better. And if I have wronged you, I'm going to quickly admit that wrong and tell you I wish I didn't act that way. It's not about your side. It's about what I did, and move forwards. I just would go into every meeting and hope that we can all remain calm. We could all stay cordial with each other and work on common solutions rather than problems together.
When you look at the landscape right now, is there anything in education that you're particularly passionate about that you want to champion as a school board member?
I'm going to be the last person to ever bring an idea that hasn't been brought up before to the school board. I'm not an education. I don't know. I'm not somebody who's been in education my whole life. I'm not somebody who can approach it. If you present me with the problem and what that problem is, I'll try to figure out how I would relate that to the problems I've faced in life or the problems I face in business, and see what I can come up with as far as like the best solution. But as far as like bringing a new idea, I'm not going to bring anything new to this table. I'm going to just bring level-headedness. My goal is to end the controversy, to end the battle with each other. When I was out there during the primary election, I had to think about the word. Again, these are all new things to me. But when I was out there for the primary election, one of my biggest problems with this whole process is the battle of Democrat and Republican. And when I was out there for the polls, the first question people are asking is, are you a Democrat or a Republican? That shouldn't be how you're describing anything that I'm doing for the school board at the end of the day. My views are community based. My views are not Democrat views or Republican views. I'm not going to just always side with what the quote unquote general Republican view is on something. But at the end of the day, if it's not right for our children, I'm going to speak out against it. I want my child to grow up in a safe environment where education comes first. I want to get back to the ABCs, the one, two, threes, and making sure that like the support is there for these teachers to be able to do that. One of the views that I have seen is it's very top heavy, our school system, that there is a lot of chiefs and not a lot of Indians, and whether that's politically correct or not, let's just say that it is a fact that there's way too many people at the top getting paid a lot of money to have somebody else pass down the job that they're supposed to be doing, to have them do it when none of them are actually doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. We need to have these people in the trenches with the teachers to figure out how the problems that are happening on the front line get solved before the problems that are happening on the back line. My leadership isn't I'm gonna sit my butt at home and you guys do the work. My leadership is we're in this together and we're gonna figure this out. If I have a staff member call out, whether it be a driver or a janitor, I'm gonna be driving people or cleaning toilets that day. We're not better than, nobody is better than, and we gotta figure out how to get this together and work as a unit to provide these kids with what we send them to school for. After seeing all the chaos, my first thought is how much is private school? And would that sink us? And then my second thought is why is that even a thing? Why should any of us have to even turn to a private school when our school system is good? It's just that we need to better it in certain ways to make sure that people have what they need and are taken care of. And I think it's a lot of it is support for the staff that's internal, and that an admin building doesn't need to be packed. I feel like that the schools should be the ones where the teachers are needed, the support staff is needed. And if you're a superintendent and you're not spending most of your time in those buildings to see what your staff members' problems are, then I don't think you're the person for the job.
I absolutely understand what you're saying, especially when you're first introduced to this world? I think a lot of people think you're going to run for school board. In many states, school board is a nonpartisan position, not in
It
Pennsylvania. In
should be.
Pennsylvania, you have to declare on a party line. You can run across party lines. You can run as a Republican, Democrat. So, as somebody who was new to the political process coming into this earlier this year, has there been anything else about how this process works that surprised you or caught you off guard? I think, I look back 12 years ago when I ran for supervisor, and I had never run for anything in my life. And my eyes were open to all of the different things that go on and to get people elected. Is there anything you're surprised about? The impact of money in it, how people are when you talk to them at the doors? The surprises can be both good and bad. They were for me.
Yeah, I would say definitely the politicizing of things was the biggest shock, but it's not the only shock. The amount that goes into running, whether you are running on the Democrat side or the Republican side, the amount that's requested of you or required from you is a lot more than what I ever anticipated. And again, I have a full plate, and a lot of people have asked me during this time, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? It comes back to the kids again, but our community and how I can best serve this community. But yeah, it was a lot more than what I was expecting. I wasn't anticipating I didn't think it was anything like a mayor run. I thought we would like sit in an office somewhere and decide like who's best for this position. I didn't realize that this was what it is, that we're involved in politics, even in the slightest bit. I try to make myself as available as possible for these things. I want the community to get to know who I am, but like I also would have rathered the community to get to know who I am from seeing me at the kids' soccer games, seeing me at school events. Because to me now I'm almost like I have a label on me as a politician that I don't want. And that not to say all politicians are bad by any means,
100%.
but it's just not where I ever saw myself being described as. And for 12 years I've built this image of myself, and not just an image of myself. I've built this person. I've created who I am today off of putting the right foot forward and making the next best move for myself. And the way people have described me has not been a politician. And unfortunately, or I guess just that's what it is, that people are going to view that as a bad thing a lot of times. And like I said, when I was at the polling station, to be able to have somebody just off of one word, who are you running for? And I tell them I'm on the Republican ticket, and their response be like a nasty response, like, get to know me. Get to know me first before you just spit on me, before you curse me out or give me a look like I'm somebody who's what I'm thinking, or what my views are. Get to know me first. I actually, one of the coolest things is I stood there at the polling station with one of the members. I'll say his name, Chucky. I was standing there with Chucky, who's on the township. I'm still
Board of
confused with all these
Supervisors.
things. Board of Supervisors.
One of the supervisors.
And him and I talked neighborhood stuff and like who like where we grew up, and he's got union ties. I have a lot of union ties. I was actually at the EAPA award ceremony earlier today, which is run by the Allied Trades, and a member of Local 98 was awarded with an award. I can mix and mingle with any crowd. I never go into a situation just hoping for some sort of divide between us. And with this, it was like all there's a divide between us because you're running on this ticket, or vice versa. Oh, I like you because you're running on that. Well, get to know me still, even though you're a Republican and you're going to vote Republican regardless. Get to know who I am first, because ultimately you're going to vote for me, and I hope it's not just because I'm a Republican. I'd hope you'd want to vote for me for reasons that are factual, that I am a caring father, that I am somebody who wants to see all of our kids succeed in life. And I think that the labels that we put on this thing are just detrimental to our kids at the end of the day. And that's why I wish that it was nonpartisan here in Pennsylvania, but it's not. And I can say that I was welcomed very quickly by a lot of the Republicans in the community, that it was awesome to be able to be welcomed by them. Ultimately, again, I want them to welcome me for the reasons that are outside of me just running on this ticket as a Republican, because prior to this, I would never have labeled myself a Republican. I was registered as a Republican, but I would vote either side depending on who's the best man for the job at the end of the day. Just like if I was to hire somebody, I'm not going into anything with a like a predetermined decision on who's getting this job based off of anything. I'm getting to know whoever I'm interviewing. I'm getting to know who it is that I'm going to be hiring. Just like I think we should do that for the school board. Get to know us, get to see who we are. I welcome anybody to come hang out with me. I watch the Eagles every week. I watch football every week. Me and my wife, when we got together, the first thing I told her is on Sundays, Monday night, Thursday night, sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday, you're losing me during football season. If you have somewhere you need me to be with you, take a cardboard cutout, put me on FaceTime, whatever you got to do, but I will be in front of the TV. So I welcome anybody. If you want to come get to know me, Sundays, come hang out at my house with me. Come get to know me here. You want to go hang out when my kid has a soccer game. If your kids play soccer, if your kids are on any of the sports teams, let's get to know each other through that. Let's get to know each other through the school events. I'm at the Willowdale events, the color run I did with my wife and my son, all the different picnics and stuff like that. Unfortunately, this Friday, the picnic at Willowdale, I'm going to miss because this won't be released before then, I don't think. But my mom's birthday is this Friday, or it's coming up, and this Friday we're surprising her at. We're taking her to Atlantic City and taking her out to eat down there as a family. So
I'll make sure this doesn't come
we'll
out
be
till
able to get
Lisa.
that. All right, perfect. But yeah, so we I would much rather you get to know me at these events as Mark Werner, as Nathan's dad, as Abigail's dad. I don't create ripples negatively inside of anywhere I go. I try to do my best to be a positive impact on anything I'm involved in. If your kids are around we're in the community, just know that your kids are safe. I'll protect everybody's kids in this community just like they're my own. And if you get to know me, you got a friend of me for life. I'll do anything and everything for anybody, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whether you're whatever your religion is, whatever your race is. None of that matters to me. We're all in this messed up world together, and we're trying to get to that goal line together. I don't think we should try to divide ourselves in any facet. I think we should try to come together more rather than throw apart from each other. And ultimately, I hope that whether you're Democrat or you're Republican, that you get to know these candidates, that you take interest in who we are. I don't think that there's a bad person on this or that's running for this. I think everybody's got a good heart, whether their views are the same or their views are different. And I hope whoever does get elected, whether it be me or any of the other ladies, that they do right by the community, that they do right by our children. I still don't plan on taking my kids out of public school if I don't win this election. I want to see this school system get better, and I'm not going away. If I don't win, you're still going to hear my voice. You're still going to see me around. I will hold everybody and anybody accountable to do right by our children at the end of the day, and that includes myself.
That's terrific. I've taken a lot of your time, and I want to thank you for the time that you put in on this call. As we wrap up, is there anything else you want the people to know before they head to the polls this November?
Vote with your heart. Vote with the knowledge that you obtain between now and then. I'm an open book. I don't have again. There's nothing that can't be said about me that I won't back up and let you know that it's true. I do everything I can to better my community. I do everything I can to better my home. I hope that we all do what's best in November, regardless of whether you think that's me or you think it's one of the other candidates. I hope that you're not voting just off of political party or what you think I might be like because I'm running with this party. Get to know us. Get to know everybody. Everybody who has said anything bad about Mary Alice, turned around and found everything good to say about the woman. And I haven't gotten the pleasure to really get to know either of the other two candidates that well. I sat with Jane at the polling station on the primaries. She seems like a wonderful woman. So I think that if you get to know us, you'll vote for what you think is best for this community. And I hope that's me. I want to be involved in my kids' futures. My son is 7 in second grade, and my daughter hasn't even touched the school system yet. She goes to daycare on Street Road at Schoolhouse Learning. Phenomenal daycare. If you're looking for a daycare, those people really care, and they're awesome people also. A little plug for them. But if I can have my finger on the pulse while my kids are in this school system, I feel like at least I'll sleep a little bit better at night, and I hope that you feel the same. That if I'm in that position, if I'm on the board, that maybe you could sleep a little bit better at night, knowing that your kids are in good hands and that the school system's going in the right direction.
Thank you for your time. I wish you continued success, not just in your business, but for your entire family. Best of health to your
Thank you,
daughter,
thank you.
and best of luck this fall. Should the voters decide to put you in office, I'm sure you'll represent the entire community well. So, best of luck to you.
Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good night.
You too.